Congratulations, you just booked an all-inclusive cruise. You think you're about to live like a millionaire for a week without spending another dime. Well, I hate to break it to you, but the cruise line is already counting on you to fund their next megaship. They don't need to force you to spend money. They just design the entire ship so you'll accidentally do it yourself. But don't cancel your vacation just yet. Cruising is still incredible. You just need to know how to play the game. Today, we're exposing the hidden mechanics of a modern cruise ship and the simple workarounds that will keep your bill at a beautiful, flat zero. Let's see what we're dealing with here. Think about booking an inside cabin just to save a quick buck. You score a dirt cheap rate, but the moment you shut that heavy door, reality hits. You are standing in pitch darkness with no natural light to tell your brain what time it is. You sleep in, wake up, and squint through the shadows at your phone, only to realize it is already 11 a.m. Without a window, your internal clock gets scrambled, making it hard to shake off that morning grogginess. It's a minor, annoying trap to start your trip. Luckily, I stumbled onto a great fix for this during my last trip. Before passing out for the night, grab your remote, dive into the TV settings to disable the auto shut-off timer, and then flip the screen straight to the Bridgecam channel. As dawn breaks out at sea, the live ocean feed will slowly shift from dark digital noise to morning light, depending on which way the ship is sailing. It won't magically blast you awake like a real alarm, but that gradual transition in room brightness gives your brain a helpful visual cue to ease you out of your sleep. Imagine walking into your stateroom on embarkation day. You're sweaty, exhausted from checking in, and there they are. Two giant, pristine bottles of water sitting right on your desk, practically begging you to open them. It feels like a nice, welcoming gesture from the cruise line, right? So you crack one open, chug it down, and forget about it, until you get hit with a $7 charge on your final bill. This unexpected fee catches plenty of passengers off guard every single voyage, and it happens because of a very clever piece of spatial marketing. The cruise line places these bottles directly in your primary line of sight when you are at your most dehydrated. If you are staying in a standard cabin on mass market lines like Royal Caribbean or Carnival, those bottles are strictly pay to play. The small paper tag hanging on the neck states the price quite clearly to avoid legal complaints, but your exhausted, fast-moving brain glosses over it, mistaking it for a generic welcome card. Note, if you booked a luxury line or a high-tier VIP suite, you can skip the stress. Those drinks are usually on the house. If you want free water, you just need to bring a refillable flask up to the buffet drink stations. Just remember to fill a complimentary plastic cup first and pour it into your flask. Doing this keeps you from touching your bottle to the machine and follows the ship's health and sanitation rules. Even better, here is a massive cash-saving workaround that most people look past. Some major lines, including Royal Caribbean, allow each stateroom to bring a limited number of non-alcoholic drinks on board on embarkation day as long as they meet the size limit. Pack your own drinks within the size limit, and that little cabin water trap loses its power. Packing for a week-long cruise means cramming formal outfits, casual wear, and swimsuits into a tight suitcase. By the time you unpack, those clothes are inevitably a wrinkled mess. If you plan to plug in a travel iron from home to fix it, forget it. Cruise lines ban them in staterooms due to fire hazards. That leaves you with the ship's laundry menu, where every shirt suddenly has its own little price tag. You can easily pay $5 to $8 just to get a single shirt pressed, or $15 for a dress. For a family trying to look sharp for a formal night, that tab can break $100 in minutes. However, you can bypass these fees depending on your ship. Certain family-friendly lines feature self-service laundry rooms on their stateroom decks. Instead of paying per shirt, you just swipe your card for a few dollars to run a whole load through commercial washers, and they provide heavy-duty clothing irons in that room for everyone to use free of charge. The catch is that many other megaships do not offer these DIY laundry rooms at all. On those specific ships, their mid-cruise fill-the-bag specials only apply to basic wash and fold items like t-shirts. Sending a formal dress through that high-heat dryer will actually ruin it. For your formal nights on those lines, your best workarounds are packing a specialized wrinkle releaser spray or biting the bullet and paying for their individual press-only service. You link your credit card to your room key, step on board, and a silent wealth drain begins. Every single night, a charge called automatic gratuities, service gratuities, or a daily service charge quietly slips onto your account, often running around $17 to $25 per day for every person in your cabin, depending on the cruise line and cabin type. For a family of 4 on a week-long sailing, that can roll into a $500 to $700 surprise on your final bill. The cruise lines usually list these charges in their policies, but because they appear automatically on your onboard account, many passengers just swallow the cost without realizing they actually have a right to address it if something genuinely went wrong. The reality is that on major mainstream lines like Carnival, Royal Caribbean, and Norwegian, you can technically ask to adjust this bill. If the service on board genuinely failed in a specific way and the issue was not fixed, you can go to guest services to request a modification or, in some cases, remove the daily charges. But this should not be something you do casually just to make the trip cheaper. These charges help support the crew members handling dining, housekeeping, hotel services, and other behind-the-scenes work. The catch is your timing and justification. You cannot wait until the final morning of the cruise because the billing system locks down to process credit card payments hours before disembarkation. To handle it properly, you need to make your move at the front desk before that final night ends and be ready to explain exactly where the service fell short. The moment you step onto the casino floor of any major cruise ship, you're stepping into a perfectly engineered trap. Cruise ship casinos work like floating Vegas rooms. Bright screens, cold air, no obvious clocks, and very little connection to the outside world. Take Casino Royale on Royal Caribbean's massive Oasis-class ships as a prime example of this environment. Because these casinos sit on Deck 4, the outer perimeter is largely blocked by the ship's massive lifeboat systems, leaving zero windows to the outside world. The whole environment pulls your attention inward, so 30 minutes can feel like 10. You can easily stare at a screen for hours, completely oblivious to the fact that the sun has already gone down over the horizon. The psychological setup comfortably drains your wallet while your brain thinks you've only been playing for a brief moment. Before you sit down, set a hard phone alarm and decide your spending limit in advance. Once that timer goes off, force yourself to stand up and walk away. It is the single most effective workaround to break the sensory illusion, protect your credit card, and ensure you remain in control of your vacation budget. Step off the ship at a private destination like Royal Caribbean's Perfect Day at Coco Cay or Labadee, and you feel like you've arrived in an exclusive paradise. These destinations are not just beaches, they are closed-loop vacation bubbles built to keep your spending inside the cruise line's world. By diverting you to their private property instead of a regular port of call, the cruise lines fully cut independent regional excursion operators out of the picture. Of course, regular public ports are rarely charity zones. They are often packed with aggressive taxi traps and souvenir stalls. But on a private island, the cruise line owns the entire market. Every water park ticket, beach bed, cabana, and cocktail keeps the money inside their system. To be fair, that bubble has real upsides. It feels safe, clean, and easy, especially if you do not want to deal with taxi scams or getting lost in an unfamiliar port. And the basic buffet lunch is usually included, just like food back on the ship. But the cruise line plays a very smart game with your vacation brain on these islands. While your food is free, the ship's premium beverage packages seamlessly carry over to the beach, allowing you to buy $20 cocktails under a tiki hut by tapping your room key. If you are at Perfect Day at Coco Cay, even your shipboard Wi-Fi links up smoothly to the shore. The smoother everything feels, the easier it is to forget every tap still counts. The fastest way to feel seasick is sometimes not the ocean. It's watching a screen tell you exactly how angry the ocean is. Flip through your cabin TV during rough seas, and you'll find a silent, strangely hypnotic broadcast. It's the official ship map, flashing real-time stats like wind speed and wave heights. While it looks innocent, many cruisers jokingly call it the ghost channel, because staring at those climbing numbers is a psychological shortcut to instant seasickness. If you're already feeling a bit off, Watching a digital dashboard confirm that the ocean is throwing a tantrum instantly panics your brain. It forces your mind to hyper-focus on every single dip, turning mild dizziness into a full-blown nausea nightmare. To beat the system, you need to outsmart the ship's physics before you even book your ticket. Think of a cruise ship like a giant seesaw. The top decks, the front, and the back amplify every movement against the waves. If you're prone to motion sickness, ignore the fancy high-tier balconies and aim directly for a lower deck at the exact midship. This central zone is the ship's natural pivot point, meaning it stays the most still when the vessel rocks out at sea. By anchoring your room in the structural sweet spot, you drastically cut down the balancing forces hitting your body. Book low and centered, put on a motion patch, and stay off that map channel if you want to keep your dinner down. One of the most viral forms of free entertainment on a cruise ship is watching Pier Runners. Passengers sprinting down the dock in a blind panic because they confuse departure time with the all-aboard cutoff. If your itinerary says the ship sails at 4 p.m., the gangway pulls up at 3:30 on the dot, leaving zero room for error. The cold reality is that the captain operates on strict port schedules and tight fuel calculations. Booking a random independent excursion online to save $20 means you are flying solo. If that private tour bus gets stuck in traffic or pops a tire, the ship will simply leave without you. You are stranded on your own to fund emergency hotels, flights to the next port, or an expensive trek back home. However, you can dramatically reduce the risk by booking your tours directly through the cruise line's official shore excursions desk. These official trips come with a guaranteed return-to-ship policy that shifts major logistical liability onto the company. If your tour bus breaks down, the captain will generally make every effort to delay departure within safe maritime limits to wait for you. If the ship absolutely must leave due to tight tidal restrictions or strict port regulations, the cruise line's financial safety net typically kicks in. Because it was their official tour, they will usually step in to handle your logistical rescue. Depending on the airline or specific port rules, they may cover your standard hotel accommodation, arrange your meals, and book your flights to the next destination to catch up with the ship without leaving you to solve the whole mess alone. Getting sick mid-ocean can instantly turn your dream vacation into a financial horror story. Cruise ship medical centers generally operate entirely outside of standard domestic health insurance networks, meaning you should expect every charge to go directly onto your room card. A basic consultation, a couple of blood tests, and some IV fluids can easily blast past $2,000 before you even leave the clinic. The situation escalates dramatically if your condition requires advanced surgery that the ship's small facility cannot handle. In critical emergencies, you will be medically evacuated from the vessel to the nearest port of call. However, if you are dropped off at a primitive medical clinic on a small Caribbean island, your local health insurance is often totally useless, and you cannot simply board a normal commercial flight to get home. In the worst cases, this is exactly where the six-figure financial trap snaps shut. To get back to a major hospital in the US, you may have no choice but to secure a private, commercial air ambulance jet. This specialized emergency flight charter can easily bill your family anywhere from $50,000 to well over $100,000 out of pocket. To protect yourself from sudden financial ruin, a comprehensive cruise insurance policy is practically essential. But before buying, read the policy limits, exclusions, and whether medical evacuation and repatriation are covered. Spending that small fraction of your total trip cost ensures that a sudden medical crisis won't severely drain your hard-earned life savings. At the end of the day, a cruise is still one of the most incredible vacations you can take. But like any multi-billion-dollar industry, these companies are playing a highly calculated game to maximize their revenue, and now you finally know where the real spending traps are. By outsmarting these hidden setups, you can protect your wallet and enjoy paradise on your own terms. That way, when you step on board, your vacation actually stays all-inclusive. Now, I want to hear from you. If you've cruised before, what is the single biggest unexpected charge you've ever found on your final bill? Or if you're planning your very first sailing, Which of these hidden mechanics surprised you the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read and reply to as many as I can. If this video helped you outsmart the system today, hit that like button and subscribe for more raw travel truths. Safe travels, and I'll see you on the next journey.